Evening, everyone. What a wonderful event we have. Before I start, I would like to thank Alpha Cap, Malaysian Blockchain Association, Boy and team for a wonderful, conference we had for the last 2 days. On my left, we have MD Nur, whose introduction was given. He's a real-life example in terms of, what blockchain can do for unmounted populations, what's happening around the world. We have Zara has a good body of work in terms of United Nations, EKYC, and the blockchain ID solutions and all. Then we have Steve. Steve is also the founder of Zenchen, one of the prominent companies in EKYC solutions, which is used by banks and financial institutions. Me, I am the co-founder of Halal Chain, which is out of Dubai. I'm in this industry for some time. So just to start, I give my sort of, experience with blockchain ID and eKYC. So what we do at Halal Chain is that we verify food stamps, that's what we call it, whatever is on the food or pharmacy or cosmetics, whatever it is. So how we use blockchain ID is basically in terms of which cow, what species, how much milk is going to give, how's the health of the cow, and then, the things like that. And then we use a massive amount of data through IoT, and then put it on board on a blockchain, use, cross-chain protocols, as well as, consensus protocols in terms of verifying, identifying the data, and bring all the way to the consumers. And everything as identified from farm to consumer, you can say. So we work massively in agro industries. I think I start with Steve first, I guess. So Steve is very known for his EKYC solutions through his Zenchen. So what I wanted to know is what are the actually approaches involved in multi-factor sort of identity verification, and which are the strongest method you think of in terms of blockchain ID and eKYC?
All right, hi, thanks. Let's just go back a little bit about how verification is done currently, right? So currently it's all been your biometric, biometric data, you can take in a fingerprint, facial recognition, many ways to collect this data. I think typically we are using fingerprint biometric right now for most verification. It's not really cost effective because you got to buy a lot of infrastructure to roll this out. So I come from the biometric chip-based card and e-passport background. That is my background, right? So what we're moving towards now is that facial recognition plays a bigger role because it's quicker and it's actually cheaper. And blockchain backend actually makes this process quicker, more verifiable, and also cost-effective. That's the whole idea, right? So when it comes to multi-factor verification, now we are including facial motion test. We put in, like you said earlier, behavioral factors to it. But I think right now we are all moving towards the facial recognition as the primary verification method, and additional like these OTPs, like your mobile number, your addresses, and also fingerprint biometric as a secondary verification. That's where we are moving towards now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, what we were discussing earlier on, me and Steve, was on the behavioral side. So I come from a fintech background as well. So what I see is more and more behavior sort of involvement will be there in terms of identifying a person or a trait in terms of how the companies are actually doing
but
it.
that's what I'm saying, right? I mean, we got to talk about practicality versus technology, right? I mean, I love the fact that in this space we have a lot of ideas, but at the end of the day, if it's not really implementable or adoption by the masses, I think it's going to take a while. Even voice recognition as biometric indicator, people are talking about it. I don't see it anywhere, and unless for a very small groups of people. So I think it is definitely in the ecosystem for verification, but I think right now people are just moving towards easier, adaptable and adoptable verification methods.
Good. I think we have less time, more questions, I guess. So I move to Noor now. So Noor is, as I introduced that, he himself is Rohingya. He came from I mean, his background is very astonishing to know. I mean, So I just wanted to ask you in terms of the identity. I mean, what are some ways that to build the identities of unamounted populations, right? Unaccounted population, you can say.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Mohammed Noor. Uh, Rohingya is a population that lives in Burma for generations, and then recently in 1982 they have been made stateless, and then they have removed their citizenship and then kicked them, all of them, out of Burma. So I'm Rohingya myself. So we have been facing a problem for identity for decades. So when all this while only a state provides the identity, but unfortunately nobody answers the question when your identity is removed by the state, what happened to it? So because of that, Rohingya for the last 50 years, Rohingya has been marginalized. They are pushed to the dark economy. They don't have bank account. They don't have access to any financial services. They don't have access to any kind of services. So I am running a couple of projects. One of them is Rohingya Vision, is a Rohingya media, and then Rohingya Football Club, and then and many other projects. One of them is called the Rohingya Project. We are using blockchain technology to develop digital identity for stateless people to include them financially into financial system. So what other way could be better way to use a technology for human purpose? So this is really a game changer for the Rohingya community. Last 70 years, the whole world is trying to talk about a solution for the Rohingya people. And finally, we managed to bring a solution to bring a digital identity for the Rohingya people, stateless people, and then bring some financial inclusion to them. And not only this project is not limited to the Rohingya themselves, but also is open to many other stateless. According to UN, there are more than 15 million stateless people in the world, and then it has not been addressed. And we are addressing, and Rohingya is, majority of that population. So we are looking into that solution so that financially Rohingya can be empowered and be more sustainable.
So, I mean, sadly, yeah, the number is increasing everywhere. If you look at Syria, Yemen, and all. So I think as blockchain enthusiasts, we should have solutions such as that. Now moving to Zara. Zara, what are the key issues in digital ID and eKYC you think we are not addressing yet?
Okay, so first of all, definitely along the lines of the stateless, there's a lot of issues with identification right now worldwide that we have not addressed. If we're going to move, though, these kinds of initiatives, like the Rohingya initiative, are definitely going to help move that needle forward. Now, when it comes to actual KYC and ID processes that exist in the blockchain space today, a lot of companies are under the misconception that by completing a KYC form and doing some sort of ID check, that you've kind of fulfilled your obligations in terms of what the legislation or what the authorities are expecting of you. And part of the risk right now is with companies that don't understand the AML space, which is the anti-money laundering space, and the anti-terrorist financing space. For companies, if you want your clients to be bankable, if you want to be bankable, if you want to have liquidity once you're done your raise, you have to ensure that the money you're bringing in is coming from clean sources of funds. So it's not coming from fraud, it's not coming from terrorist financing, it's not coming from child pornography or any other forms of dark money. And so what we have is basically what we have done to address this is both with the KYC component and the ID and the AML is we're looking at region by region compliance solutions, both on the security side with securities protocols for secondary trading, and on the KYC side, every single region has its own, every single country has its own standard for bankability. So for example, in Canada, you need a credit check. In Germany, you've got liveness detection. In Switzerland, you need a wet signature. And so what our solution has done is at iComply, we have gone region by region. So we have an automated KYC compliance solution and identity that is focused on bankability and liquidity, and enabling you to transact securely and confidently, knowing that what money you're taking in is actually clean and bankable.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think our time is over, but I think this is what we have in terms of experience, I would say, and that's about it, I think, for now. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.